Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Peter Gelb, the Met's general manager, and I'm delighted to be joined by two of the three dazzling divas who will be singing this Saturday, and I'll be introducing them more formally in a moment. Last Sunday, for those few of you fortunate enough to have been there, members of the Met Orchestra and Chorus and a few of our notable singers led by Yannick Nézet-Séguin performed triumphantly at the Knockdown Center in Queens, which is a former door factory that has been converted into a performing arts space. But this Saturday, in the spirit of moving from sow's ear to silk purse, we'll be transporting our audience to that lap of operatic luxury, the Royal Opera House of the Versailles Palace. I think we have there you are. There's the exterior that I'm sure you're all familiar with, probably less familiar with the opera house that is inside the Chateau of Versailles, and where I had the privilege many years ago of producing a Rossini gala in the early 80s, and where this concert is taking place on Saturday. So I'd like to welcome Isabel Leonard and Nadine Sierra, who are two of the three singers who are going to be singing on Saturday. Ailyn Pérez, we hope, is going to join us shortly. She's actually in transit, and just it's not easy to get around these days in COVID times in any country, and France is no exception. So she will be with us, we hope. But I'm sure between Isabel and Nadine, we have plenty to talk about. As our audience knows, Isabel and Nadine and Ailyn are all, or three of the most gifted and prolific performers on the stage of the Metropolitan Opera and the other leading opera houses of the world. And before we go any further, I thought we just play a very brief trailer that I don't know if some of you may have seen this trailer already, but this is a video trailer that shows the three artists in action, and we can play that now on this from the stage of the Met, I should say. So that should whet your appetite for the musical riches in store for you this Saturday. I wish I could take credit for teaming the three of you up for this concert, and I suppose in a way I can take credit for latching onto a good idea, but the good idea wasn't mine. So years ago, or a few years ago back, there was a hashtag which was making the operatic circles called Las Amigas. And why don't you tell us what that was all about? Either one.
First of all, I want to say thanks a lot for sticking the mezzo in the high B clip thing, like at the end. High B, high B, high B. Why?
Well, we want to show your full range.
Anyway, Las Amigas. We all did Marriage Figaro. When was that, Nadine? Oh God,
that was 2017.
2017. Yeah, and we obviously knew each other beforehand, but we
actually we have a photograph of the three of you in. It's out of order perhaps, but there you are.
See, there you go.
Cherubino, the Countess, and Susanna. There you are, Nadine, playing the guitar.
Yeah,
It's
trying.
I know that. Yeah, I mean, we all obviously are good friends and great colleagues, and we love being together on stage and love listening to each other sing. I was just texting Nadine earlier, listening to her do her arias in rehearsal today, and I was just like, I love you. I think you're beautiful. You know, she's such a just everything singer, you know. So we all decided that we wanted to do more together, and as the years progressed, we discussed and we all kind of said we have to do more at some point or another. And I would say in like the last year or so, we had all gotten on a call together and you know, sort of a mutual desire to create a concert for the three of us. And this just happens to be our quasi debut of that idea, and you know, testing it all out.
Well, when I heard about it, it sounded like a great idea, so I thought we should make it one of our pandemic pay-per-view concerts. And this may be the last one. In fact, I don't know. We'll see how since things are opening up now, and we're looking forward to returning to action in the fall, and opera companies in Europe are opening up now as well. So everything is changing very dramatically over the summer and the coming months. So let's talk about this particular program, though. And so, you know, one of the things that you have in common is your Latina heritage, and which is, I think, part of, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, but that's part of what sort of inspired some of the ideas in this program that we've been working on together, right?
Oh, yeah.
Nadine, you want to
yeah,
come?
Absolutely. I think that I mean, it's obviously one of the things that bonds the three of us together, because we all have that in common. Our personalities as well has some of that, you know, a bit of that spice and sass. And so to bring that into a program that's also mixed in with the operatic arias, duets, trios that we love and know so well, it also gives a significance to Latin music. And a lot of that music too, sometimes is kind of hidden from view. I feel like a lot of that music is not presented or is probably as popular as some of these operatic highlights that we have in the program. So it's nice to put them together, you know, to have that sort of marriage between the things that are very, very well known and things that are probably a little less well known to the operatic audience.
So the program features Vlad Ivtinka, who is well known to all of you and to me, who used to be on the music staff of the Met, and playing the piano, accompanying you, and sort of he's represents. He's in the pit, and you're on the stage. The way the setup for this concert, as is the case with other ones we've done in actual opera houses. Some of these pay-per-view events, as you know, have been in historic homes or in monasteries, the side of a mountain. This one is actually in the opera house, but with the action reversed, so that the auditorium, the beautiful ornate auditorium of the Royal Opera House is upstage of you. That's the scenic background, and you are, the three of you will be on a stage that's constructed, that sits in the middle of where the audience would be, except there won't be an audience, except for people watching at home, of course. And together also with Vlad playing the piano is the esteemed classical Spanish guitarist Pablo Sanz Villegas, who, I don't know if you've ever worked with him before, but and you probably haven't met him yet. He's, I guess, arriving for rehearsal today, or
we met him today.
You met him today, great. So why don't we talk a little bit about the program? So as you mentioned, Nadine, the program begins with more kind of the show-stopping arias and duets from the more familiar operatic repertoire that each of you have chosen to sing, and then there's a sort of the end of the classical portion of the program, which is about, I guess, 2/3 of the program, or the operatic portion of the program, I should say, ends with the Rosenkavalier trio, and that's something the three of you have not sung together. So
it's going to be epic.
Yeah.
It's all epic. Everything is epic these days. I think it will be epic. It will be certainly be fantastic to hear the three of you sing it together. But what are some of, in terms of the operatic repertoire, Isabel? What is there something you favor the most that you're singing and that you want to talk about, or?
That's a good question. I'm kind of all about keeping the whole program secret, but
It's not. I have to. It's not a total secret.
No, I figured it probably isn't. But I mean, I would say that at least for me, and I think for all of us, we're all doing pieces that people know us for a little bit, as well as stretching our own wings a little bit and trying some new things, perhaps roles that we'll be doing in the future, or roles that we're stretching into a little bit and trying out. Why not try out new things in front of a gigantic audience for the first time?
Well, that's been
on stage for over a year. This seems like the perfect opportunity.
Well, you're a bold diva. What would you say? What would be a piece that the Vivaldi that you're singing? Is that something?
Yeah, that would be one. I mean, I have performed it before years ago.
From Vivaldi's Griselda, which I don't even know.
Most people don't really know. They'll know the arias for the most part. And I would say I performed it long ago, back before I knew any better, it seems. And that's a challenging piece. It's just one of those pieces that keeps going and going and going. And I'm trying to think. There's, I'll sing Voy que Sapete because this is something that is in my blood at this point, and it's a nice little homage to our three ladies doing Marriage of Figaro together, and
right.
And a lot of other fun pieces. Particularly in the second half, I think maybe a couple things that people may or may not know.
Certainly, yeah. Let's get to the second half in a moment. But in terms of the standard operatic material, so Nadine, I mean, you're stretching yourself by singing Norma.
Yes, the Norma duet.
With Ailyn.
Yes, I'm so excited to sing this with her. It's a duet that I've loved for a very long time, and I've actually never sung it before, so singing it with Ailyn will be the first time, as well as in this concert. So that's very nice. And the aria I'm very much looking forward to is Nonmedia, because this is something also I have not presented officially, and I'm excited to do so now because from what Isabel said, some of these things in this program is kind of stretching us. It's challenging us. I mean, that's what opera is all about. That's what we are all about as artists. We try to do this like super human thing and kind of continue that path for ourselves artistically. So Nonmedia is something I'm really, really looking forward to challenge myself with, and probably in the future looking at Donna Anna as a role to sing. This
is a way of sort of dipping your toes in the water of future repertoire.
I think so too.
Right.
In Versailles.
But that's very exciting, I think, for the opera fans who are with us today. We have the audience watching right now live are the biggest supporters of the Met, and the ones who are most knowledgeable and interested in our great artists. And I'm glad that you confirmed that you were super beings, because I think they would say so as well. And because you have to, to get up on the stage of the Met, as we all know, takes a lot of talent and a lot of courage.
That's true.
That's for sure.
And a lot of love.
And a lot of
love.
Love for the art and love for the audience.
Yep, absolutely.
Do you want to talk a little bit about some of the more unusual repertoire that comes in the last third of the program? Sure.
We have two very beautiful trios, actually, which have become trios. They themselves are solos.
Right.
And I think they are two songs that most people would recognize. But we have like a special arrangement that has been planned, and also you had said the guitarist Pablo, he's going to be joining us in that.
For those two arrangements of.
Right, so that's going to feel kind of like we have a full orchestra with us, And yeah, so we will present that, and that will be the first time that we are presenting these arrangements. So that's very nice.
And the American arranger, who actually I met through you, Isabel, James Lowe, has done some terrific work on these two pieces, which I will say what they are. Bésame Mucho, which is one of my favorite songs. Which if I'm listening to Brazilian music, that's certainly something I turn to. And Las Cielito Lindo is the other song. And then also tell us about some of the solo pieces you're doing that are outside the standard rep.
I am doing a zarzuela that is one of my favorite zarzuelas. It's called Me llaman la primorosa. And it's very flashy, it has a lot of flair. There's also a lot that Vlad can do on the piano with that piece. So I think it's going to be a lot of fun. It's very upbeat. And then the other one is very much the opposite, kind of has that, Latin flair of, emotions going from 1 to 10 and then back to 1. So the other one is very sad, very melancholy. It's by Rodrigo, and it's actually the first song of a set of 4 songs, and it's called Con que la lavaré. It's very short, but it's very beautiful. I mean, all of the songs that we're all doing for that second half, I think each song for us is very close to our hearts, and we've known them for a long time. So, and I really hope that the audience can get a sense of that as they watch and listen to us, that we put a lot of love and a lot of kind of our families, our history into what we sing.
Right. That's so, Isabel, you're singing something which I don't think that many people know so well, which is Rossini's Spanish song.
Yeah, Rossini wrote a canzonetta spagnolo.
Right.
And I remember the first time I heard it was a recording of Marilyn Horne singing it, and immediately I was like, oh, I have to do that. I want to do that. And I learned it many, many years ago, and it's been a lot of fun to continue playing around with it. It has a lot of has a room for play, as Rossini does. And the other piece, although it is not unusual per se, it is certainly one of those pieces that I'll be doing coming up in the future, which is the Seguidilla from Carmen.
Right.
And so, although there's a long list of repertoire behind me of actual Latin American and Spanish composers, the 2 pieces on this half that are called on more Spanish inspired are actually by non-Spanish composers. So it's kind of a fun mix of pieces on the whole program. And one day we'll do a program where we have the majority of it being all of these fantastically arranged trios and Spanish repertoire, maybe that is even less well known, right? And we can continue to bring that to the forefront.
But we'll have to plan that for the stage of the Met,
right,
for the future. And Ailyn, who unfortunately has not yet joined us, is singing some signature pieces as well as some unusual ones. She's singing one of the most beautiful arias ever written, which is that fantastic aria from La Vallee, which is so gorgeous, and obviously is doing a share of signature pieces, as well as her share of signature pieces, as well as these more lesser known Latin works. And of course you were both singing, really well-known signature pieces too, as you said at the beginning, like Nadine, you're actually singing the opening aria from an aria from Romeo and Juliet.
Yeah, Je veux vivre. Yeah.
And that's something that you've sung everywhere, sure.
That's been with me forever. Actually, I first learned that aria from Evelyn Lear and Roberta Peters. I was 13 years old, and they were living in Florida, where I grew up, and I wanted to take lessons from the both of them because I found out they were living there. So I took Je veux vivre with me, and the first thing Evelyn Lear said was, well, it's very obvious you need to work on your French. She was very strict, very stern, very critical. But, you know, it taught me something really interesting. And every time I sing Je veux vivre, I think about her and I think about Roberta Peters.
Oh.
So yeah, it's very close to my soul, my heart.
That's great. See, you know, these Zoom interview sessions also feature questions from the audience who have submitted them. So I would be negligent in my duties if I didn't get to those before we run out of time. So here are a couple of audience questions. I'm not responsible for them, but they certainly are questions that are on the audience's mind. Some of them are good. So here's the first one. Can an opera diva travel light? How much luggage does it take on a work trip to fit all your gowns?
I mean, I don't know about Nadine, but I know that it kind of depends on what you're doing, maybe, and how long you're going to be there. And I would say for a trip like this, which is a very quick trip, anything I need for the performance, clothes, shoes, makeup, blah, 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 all goes into my carry-on. Because the last thing I want to do is lose my bag.
Right.
And then everything else can go into another bag if I so choose it. I have over the years, especially I've a just turned 11-year-old son. After, you know, many years of travel, I hate packing. I loathe packing. I despise it. I don't ever want to have to do it. So I choose to travel as light as I possibly can, just to avoid, you know, the time it takes.
I'm quite similar because it's just not worth it. We practically live out of our suitcases, and I guess you have to kind of be minimalistic in that way. And I'd say a neat trick for anybody who wants to travel around like that, let's say after COVID, right? Post-COVID life, bring a duffel bag with you, just an empty duffel bag. So pack the necessities and then have the duffel bag just in case, you know, you go shopping. That's kind of my theory, because that usually happens too, where we're missing things. We need an extra pair of shoes, or we want to get another gown. That also pops up in our travels because things also pop up as well. So it depends.
Sounds like you both have a very pragmatic and modern approach to traveling on the road, which makes sense to me. I can tell you that. I never travel. I never check a bag if I can possibly help it. So here's another audience question, which I know both of you have interesting stories about how you wanted to become opera singers. And so the question is, when did you know you wanted to become an opera singer, and how did your families react to that prospect? Isabel or Nadine?
Nadine, go ahead.
Well, I was 10 when my mother introduced me to opera, and actually it was a VHS from the Met. It was Zeffirelli's La Bohème with Teresa Stratas and Jose Carreras and Scotto singing Musetta. So she introduced it to me because my grandmother, her mother, had wanted to be an opera singer, but because she was a woman and it was a different time, she wasn't allowed. My great-great-grandfather didn't allow her to because he wanted her to be a wife, to have children, to just lead the life of a typical woman in those days. So my mother kind of watched her have that regret all her life of never having pursued something she really knew that she could probably make it into and was her dream. So when I was showing this like weird interest at such a young age, my mother thought, I have to give her that opportunity because otherwise maybe it will be something my daughter will regret if I don't give her the choice. So she did, and I had to be very diligent. I practiced every day for an hour every day. I had a lesson every week. I also took piano. So I kind of dedicated my entire childhood to learning and consuming everything that had to do with opera.
That's a remarkable story.
Yeah.
I think I, on the other hand, probably thought opera was the most obnoxious thing I'd ever heard when I was 10. I remember also, in a way, my mother listening to WQXR or something in the radio, listening to opera, all the Saturday broadcasts, and me going, "Oh my God, what? Why are they yelling? Why? Why?" And she would be like, "Oh, you're so uncultured," or whatever she would say. And but it didn't mean that I didn't love singing. That was the thing. I loved singing, and I was a very shy kid, but for me, being in a theater production was a fun place to be. And it was how I eventually sort of shed those onion peels, of timidness. But I started with dance and with theater, and I think I knew. So although I say, I jokingly say that I didn't like opera at that age, I also though knew, I think at that age, around the same age, that I wanted to be in the theater and that I wanted to be on stage. So to me, it wasn't about opera per se, but it was about being on stage. And then it wasn't really until I had the fortune to go to Juilliard for my undergrad and my master's, and that really put me on a classical music track. And I sort of, in a way, call it by chance or by fate, by luck, by grace, I was able to start working and get onto that. I mean, Peter, you and I met at the beginning of all that. Long time.
I remember very well. It was shortly after I was appointed to my position at the Met, even before I had become the general manager. It was in the transition that Matthew Epstein, your manager who looked after you and so many of great careers of singers, called me and said, "You have to hear this young singer." And I dutifully went over to hear a recital you were singing or in the church on Park Avenue.
St. Bartholomew's Church.
Right.
Yep. It was a recital on the Wings of Song, Marilyn Horne's foundation.
Right.
Yeah. And it's fun talking about this, but just because it's a fun story, Matthew Epstein, at the end of the recital, once it was said and done, he came up to me and he goes, "Well, now I can tell you who I invited." Peter Gelb was here.
Sounds like Matthew Epstein.
Beforehand.
Well, I was delighted to have been there because I agreed with him, and certainly, it's great that both of you have, from really early on in your careers, have made the Met one of your main homes, artistic homes, and we certainly want to keep it that way going forward. And I'm thrilled that in the coming season, you both and Ailyn have such a lot to do. Isabel, you're singing in our new English language Cinderella, which is an adaptation of the production of the Massenet Cendrillon in the title role, and which I think is going to be a huge and very important step in our efforts to get younger people interested in the opera. Our English language Magic Flute has been a big introduction for young people. And of course, you're also singing the great role of the composer in Ariadne, which is something you have not sung on the stage of the Met before. And I'm so looking forward to that. And Nadine, you're actually singing in a brand new production of Lucia, which directed by Simon Stone, who is making his debut. He's one of the more brilliant theater directors and opera directors around. And so that's we're looking forward to both of those so much. And of course, Ailyn is singing a role which she's perfectly, will be perfect in, which is Tatiana in Eugene Onegin. So it's all great vehicles, and for us, and I think for you as artists. So we're so looking forward to that. So I think we've run out of time. Unfortunately, I'm sorry Ailyn never got on the call, but I know she's on her way to the two of you, and I know you'll be rehearsing with her, and we have a lot of work. You have a lot of work, and we have a lot of work getting ready for this Saturday broadcast. But we're very excited about it, and we're excited that everyone on this call and people, many thousands of people will be watching this Zoom conversation on our various social media platforms later today and tomorrow. So I think it's great that you both have provided our audiences with an opportunity to know a little bit more about this wonderful program that you're going to be singing, and I'm sure it will be epic. And I am excited. I am excited about it, and I look forward to seeing you on the stage in Versailles, and also even more just looking forward to seeing you back on the stage of the Met in the coming season. So thank you both so much. Thank you everybody out there who's watching today, and we will be meeting again soon. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Thank you.